Hi, this is Zach Meir with the Bulletin Board Heroes here at Zach's Traders Cafe for Wednesday, the 28th of February. Starting off with the FTSE 100, which has done what we didn't want it to do, which was test a rising 50-day moving average. That's around 76.30. The good news is that we can have an end-of-day close back above it. We're still online for a move to the top of that August rising trend channel 78.30 by the end of next month. We're giving it that long because obviously it's a very sluggish market. Otherwise, below 76.30 and the 50-day line risks a test of the 200-day line. But we're not expecting anything worse than that at this stage, even though the RSI is now fallen below the neutral 50 level. So that's all about 76.30 at the moment. Moving on to the DAX, which presumably will have been impacted by the slight fall on Wall Street yesterday, but actually if you look at it, we're actually slightly up there, and we're still heading for that red resistance line projection from September, 17,800, hopefully over the next few days. Above that, best case scenario target 18,400 by the end of next month. At the moment, not expecting too much negative price action back below 17,300 and the top of the second gap here that we had over recent days. Moving on to the Dow, and here position is that we are still above, or we still a bit closed above the latest gap there around 38,800. We've got the risk of a test of the floor of that rising October trend channel at 38,700, and probably would be difficult not to anticipate at least a brief test of the 50-day line there around the 38,000 level. But if we manage to avoid the test of the floor of the channel there, still on for track for 40,000 or even 41,000 by the end of next month. Moving on to Bitcoin, which is certainly the star of the show at the moment. We were looking for 60,000 by the end of next month, and the way things are going, we might actually get up to 60,000 by the end of this month, helped by the way that obviously 1 in 4 years are a leap year, so we have an extra day. The resistance line projection there from October up to 60,300, so that's maybe a level or an area to look out for. I won't upgrade the target yet, just in case it jinxes it. But basically, while we're above 5,500 now, 55,000 rather, we're looking for 60,300. Moving along to gold, which is presumably not quite as sprightly as Bitcoin is at the moment, but still trying to break that December resistance line there around 2050. End of day close above that, we could be looking at 2,100 hopefully over the next couple of weeks, and then by the end of next month gunning for 2,180 at the top of that rising trend channel from March last year. Moving along to the stocks, and a stock which I don't think I've ever covered here before, Animalcare, but too exciting not to look at this one. We've already had nice noises from the stock in the sense that there was a golden cross just last week at around the 194 level, and obviously we've made good on that. Unusual to have a golden cross before the price moves appreciably, but looking for £2.60 at the top of that rising trend channel from some time ago, actually the summer of 2022, and hopefully we can hit that by the end of next month, while we remain above the recent support, or the latest support there around the £2 level, so above £2 and 260 on Animalcare. Next up is Ananda, which was, where the news flow is flowing as well. We've got a rising trend channel base. We've got the shares heading towards a sharply rising 50-day moving average, so we're looking for that as a trigger. So an end of day close above 0.35 should do the trick and unleash the possibility of a move to the top of that rising trend channel from September as high as 0.47 by the end of next month. Onto a stock which has been moving, even though it's a bit off the radar, Beeks, and here you can see this rising channel, rising bull flag formation. Actually, our old target there, £1.45. Above that, we were looking for a 2022 resistance line projection as high as £1.90, and hopefully we'll get that well before the end of next month. The shares seem to be accelerating very nicely, backed by this month's golden cross between the 50 and 200-day moving averages. On to CapEx, where the fundamentals have been slightly questionable over the recent past, but the shares have managed to deliver a 30% bounce today. Probably still to get comfortable, we want to see the shares back above the recent support, which was broken there at 0.6, above 0.6. there's a possibility of retesting the 1 penny area, but obviously that one is not for widows and orphans. Big contract win for Ensilica today, and here the shares making good on the newspaper tip over the weekend. Still looking for up to 83 pence by the end of next month, while we remain above 65 pence, or at least I suppose one could allow down to the 200-day line of 59, but looks as though the shares might even get away with remaining above 65 before they head to 83. Moving along to Emmersoon, where it seems that the shares are sort of getting well poised in terms of potential upside. We've got the top of the gap there to shoot for around 3.5 pence. Hopefully that'll happen by the end of next month. In the meantime, we're seeing the shares remain above the 200-day moving average at around the 2.4 pence level. The longer we stay above that, the greater the chance of 3.5 pence by the end of next month, and who knows, it might be a bit more than that as well. Itaconix is next, and here we can see that the shares are pushing through the 200-day moving average at £1.64. Above that, we were looking for up to £2.40 by the end of next month, so good to see the shares breaking the high of the gap up day, which tends to be a very significant thing to happen, as is obviously breaking through the 200-day line. The upside value, while we hold above neckline resistance at £1.51, that was the high in November. On to Kodal, which I know a lot of people follow and are praying to go up, and here it looks like we're just getting the beginnings of a trend line break from December around 0.36. Above that, looking for the 200-day line 0.5 by the end of next month, or even sooner, and ideally we just have price action above that 50-day moving average at 0.34 in the meantime. On to Longboat, which is also delivering decent momentum at the moment. Here you can see that we pushed through, as suspected, the resistance line there from back in August, and the 200-day moving average at 23/4. Above that, looking for up to 36 or 37 pence as soon as the end of next month, helped by the way that both the 50 and 200-day lines are rising, and that implies we're probably a week or two away from a golden cross, and the run up to that tends to be the strongest part in the cycle. Another stock which we don't often look at is Netcall, and here you can see that the shares bouncing off the floor of a rising trend channel from August, also bouncing off both the 50 and 200-day lines at 89 pence. Above that, we're looking for £1.14 as soon as the end of next month. Next up is the hottest stock at the moment by quite some margin. It almost makes you feel as though we're back in a bull market. We've got Powerhouse Energy, unfilled gap to the upside back last week, and basically we were looking for an initial target there of 0.56. Above 0.56 we were looking for the gap to be filled from August at 0.78, and that's been done. And now above 0.78 we are looking for a resistance line projection from this time last year as high as 1.35 or even 1.4 pence to take the shares back to where they were at that time. At this stage, only back below resistance on the way down around the penny area, really delaying the upside scenario, which looks relatively unlikely. Stock from Aquis, which has got a great formation at the moment, is Phonix Digital. Here we've had this mid-move consolidation after the gap higher, and we're breaking out of that consolidation. Looks as though the minimum on the upside here will be up to the top of that rising trend channel from back in 2022 at 4 pence, but actually we're looking for much more than that with that kind of a U-shaped or extended saucer-shaped formation. Should be back up to 5 pence really as soon as the end of next month, while we're above the 50-day line at 2.8 pence. Sound Energy also looks as though it's back in business, at least on a charting basis. Here you can see shares with this V-shaped bull flag above the recent support there at 0.8. We're looking for 1.2 pence at the top of that broadening triangle from back in September. Stock which has had multiple false dawns and was disappointed until now is Verditek, but maybe the 37% rise in the shares today has some meaning. It's a bear trap from below the initial February support there at 0.8 pence, and above that there's a chance of a dead cat bounce towards 0.17 by the end of next month or even sooner, but you can see that area up to 0.2 has been resistance for the shares in the recent past. Finishing off with Vinanz, which has got a fundraise away, which is very nice, and also means that the shares, well, it's interesting that the shares are rising quite sharply after a fundraise, which is normally a good signal there, good fundamental signal. Top of the channel there, which we've been looking for a little while now, a few weeks maybe, is 16 pence. We're looking for that by the end of next month or even sooner, while we remain above the 50-day moving average, currently at 9.9 pence. That's it for me today. More updates tomorrow.